Recording in progress. Của em lại còn nói từ nãy giờ. Sao? Em ở đây
Mến chào các thầy cô ạ. Cho em xin phép được test một chút về đường truyền được không ạ? Các thầy cô ơi, mình có nhìn thấy hình ảnh và nghe thấy tiếng của chúng em từ đầu cầu trung tâm không ạ? Nếu mà có thì các thầy cô vui lòng thay giúp em từ GS vào trong chat box được không ạ? Em cảm ơn các thầy cô. Dạ vâng ạ, em có nhận được phản hồi các thầy cô rồi ạ. Vâng ạ, các thầy cô ơi, thì chương trình chính thức của chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu vào lúc 8 giờ 50 phút ạ. Các thầy cô mình sẽ vui lòng chờ thêm một lát nữa ạ. Vâng. Dạ vâng, em cảm ơn các thầy cô ạ. Vâng, các thầy cô đang theo dõi ở trên YouTube và fanpage của Tiếng Anh Global Success. Các thầy cô có nghe thấy em và có nhìn thấy hình ảnh của em không ạ? Nếu mà nhìn thấy thì các thầy cô vui lòng comment giúp em yes vào trong phần dưới livestream của YouTube và fanpage nhé. Vâng ạ, em cảm ơn các thầy cô.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. I do hope you'll enjoy my session in 35 minutes' time. I look forward to seeing everybody. Yeah.
Dạ kính thưa quý thầy cô, hội thảo của Nhà xuất bản giáo dục Việt Nam sẽ được bắt đầu trong 5 phút nữa và đúng lúc 8 giờ 50 phút ạ. Quý thầy cô vui lòng là mình ổn định chỗ ngồi và có thể chuẩn bị sẵn một cốc nước rất là đầy để chúng ta có thể theo dõi trọn vẹn buổi workshop sáng nay ạ. Vâng, xin cảm ơn các thầy cô ạ. Các thầy cô ơi, mình vui lòng đổi tên giúp em trên Zoom theo cú pháp là tên tỉnh và tên điểm cầu được không ạ? Vì những thầy cô mà không đặt tên theo đúng cú pháp này thì các bạn yêu viên sẽ có thể mời ra phòng chờ để chúng ta đổi lại tên cho đúng cú pháp ạ. Vâng, em cảm ơn các thầy cô. Dạ vâng ạ, kính chào các thầy cô ạ. Xin được nồng nhiệt chào mừng các quý đại biểu, quý thầy cô đến từ các tỉnh thành trên toàn quốc đang có mặt tham dự hội thảo chuyên đề về phương pháp giảng dạy môn tiếng Anh cấp tiểu học với bộ sách giáo khoa tiếng Anh Global Success của Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam ạ. Em xin được tự giới thiệu, em là Đỗ Thu Giang, là biên tập viên của Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam. Em rất là vui cũng như là rất vinh dự hôm nay thì được thay mặt cho ban tổ chức được gửi lời chào tới quý đại biểu, quý thầy cô và cũng sẽ là người đồng hành và hỗ trợ các quý thầy cô cũng như các diễn giả trong buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, hội thảo hôm nay thì sẽ được tổ chức trực tuyến trên nền tảng Zoom và đồng thời cũng được livestream trên kênh YouTube và fanpage tiếng Anh Global Success. Và trong hội thảo ngày hôm nay thì em xin trân trọng có sự tham dự của quý vị đại biểu đến từ các sở giáo dục và đào tạo trên toàn quốc. Em cũng về phía nhóm tác giả thì em xin trân trọng giới thiệu có thầy Hoàng Văn Vân, tổng chủ biên, các thầy cô chủ biên và tác giả sách giáo khoa các khối lớp của Bộ Tiếng Anh Global Success. Em cũng xin trân trọng giới thiệu có sự tham gia của các thầy cô là báo cáo viên, là trainers của môn tiếng Anh Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam. Vâng, và hôm nay thì cũng có sự tham dự của các đại diện ở tại Việt Nam của Nhà Xuất bản Macmillan, đơn vị đang đồng hành và hợp tác chặt chẽ với Nhà Xuất bản Việt Nam trong việc biên soạn và xuất bản bộ sách giáo khoa tiếng Anh Global Success dành cho các tiểu học. Và hôm nay thì em cũng xin giới thiệu có thầy Melia là cố vấn học thuật và giảng viên đào tạo của Macmillan khu vực Đông Nam Á cũng sẽ là diễn giả của chúng ta ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, và đặc biệt hơn nữa thì em cũng xin được gửi lời chào cũng như là lời trân trọng cảm ơn tới toàn thể các quý thầy cô đến từ 63 tỉnh thành trên toàn quốc đã dành thời gian tham gia vào hội thảo của Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam ngày hôm nay. Vâng, kính thưa các thầy cô, Nhà Xuất bản Việt Nam trong những năm vừa qua thì em xin lỗi các thầy cô có nghe thấy em rõ không ạ? Nếu mà có các thầy cô vui lòng gọi yes được không ạ? Em thấy có một số thầy cô đang ghi là tiếng nhỏ quá ạ. Dạ vâng, em cảm ơn các thầy cô ạ. Dạ vâng. Em cảm ơn các thầy cô ạ. Dạ vâng, thưa các thầy cô, thì trong những năm qua, Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam luôn dành tới các quý thầy cô sự trân trọng cũng như là sự biết ơn rất chân thành vì các thầy cô đã luôn đồng hành, luôn ủng hộ Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam bằng việc là tin tưởng và lựa chọn những bộ sách giáo khoa của Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam, và đặc biệt trong đó là bộ sách giáo khoa tiếng Anh Global Success. Và để đáp lại sự tin yêu đó thì Nhà Xuất bản Giáo dục Việt Nam vẫn luôn luôn nỗ lực và cố gắng hết mình làm sao để có thể hỗ trợ các thầy cô một cách tốt nhất bằng việc là biên soạn và xuất bản những bộ sách giáo khoa, sách tham khảo chất lượng cao, và làm sao có thể cung ứng sách về từng địa phương cách đầy đủ kịp thời với giá thành phù hợp đại trà. Và đồng thời thì Nhà Xuất bản Việt Nam cũng đang và đang liên tục phát triển, xây dựng những cái công cụ, những tài liệu và tài nguyên hỗ trợ dạy và học bằng cả dạng in, dạng điện tử để có thể hỗ trợ các thầy cô thuận lợi nhất trong quá trình lên lớp của mình. Và bên cạnh đó thì Nhà Xuất bản cũng thường xuyên tổ chức những hội thảo, hội nghị chuyên đề để với sự tham gia của các chuyên gia trong nước và nước ngoài để có thể chia sẻ đến các thầy cô những kiến thức, những kinh nghiệm, những phương pháp giảng dạy tiếng Anh mới nhất, cập nhật nhất nhưng mà cũng rất là thực tiễn và có thể áp dụng linh hoạt vào điều kiện của từng địa phương ạ. Vâng, và với hội thảo ngày hôm nay, hội thảo thì sẽ kéo dài trong cả ngày. Buổi sáng từ 9 giờ đến 11 giờ sẽ là phần trình bày của thầy Melia, là chuyên gia đến từ Macmillan về phương pháp quản lý lớp học, làm sao để có thể quản lý lớp học ở những cái quy mô, những sĩ số khác nhau và phương pháp để có thể duy trì sự chú ý cũng như là sự tương tác của học sinh trong lớp học. Phiên buổi chiều từ 14 giờ đến 16 giờ sẽ là những chia sẻ của bà Trần Nguyễn Phương Thùy về kiểm tra đánh giá môn tiếng Anh ở bậc tiểu học theo chương trình giáo dục phổ thông 2018 và hướng dẫn soạn kế hoạch bài dạy theo công văn 2345. Chắc chắn là đây là hai cái nội dung mà các thầy cô sẽ rất quan tâm phải không ạ? Dạ vâng. Quay trở lại với nội dung chính của buổi sáng ngày hôm nay, thì trong những cái buổi hội thảo trước đây khi mà Nhà Xuất bản tổ chức thì Nhà Xuất bản có nhận được những cái phản hồi từ quý thầy cô là mặc dù có học hỏi được rất nhiều cái phương pháp, những phương pháp và những kỹ thuật giảng dạy rất là tuyệt vời, rất là thú vị, nhưng mà đôi khi thì các thầy cô cũng đã cảm thấy có những cái khó khăn khi mà áp dụng vào thực tế do là cái sĩ số lớp học ở các lớp học Việt Nam thì khá là đông, chắc là phổ biến được khoảng 40 đến 50 em. Thế rồi cái trình độ của học sinh thì nó cũng chưa đồng đều, cho nên là thiếu cái sự tương tác giữa học sinh với nhau và giữa học sinh với giáo viên. Vâng, vậy thì trong buổi sáng ngày hôm nay, trong hội thảo sáng nay thì thầy Blue sẽ chia sẻ đến quý thầy cô những cái phương pháp, những cái chiến lược rất là cụ thể và rõ ràng, rồi những làm sao để có thể tạo ra môi trường học tập rất là tích cực hiệu quả. Thầy cũng sẽ chia sẻ những cái cách để xây dựng cái mục tiêu học tập rất là cụ thể, những cái bước triển khai rõ ràng, những cách để có thể quản lý hành vi của học sinh, làm sao để giúp các em có thể có động lực học tiếng Anh và có những cái động lực để tương tác nhiều hơn trong lớp học. Đồng thời thì thầy cũng sẽ chia sẻ những ý tưởng về những hoạt động, những trò chơi rất là vui nhộn để có thể áp dụng trong lớp học và những cái kỹ thuật làm sao để quản lý lớp học một cách hiệu quả. Vâng, thưa các thầy cô, em cũng có vừa nhận được thông tin từ bộ phận kỹ thuật là hiện tại chúng ta đã có hơn 1.000 thầy cô tham gia điểm cầu Zoom. Trên YouTube là 2.681 điểm cầu và Facebook là 157. Các thầy cô có thể vui lòng chia sẻ thêm với những đồng nghiệp của mình hiện tại đang chưa biết đến hội thảo của Nhà Xuất bản Việt Nam để thầy cô có thể tham gia với hội thảo của Nhà Xuất bản ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, em xin quay trở lại với phần giới thiệu về buổi hội thảo sáng nay. Phần trình bày của thầy Blue sẽ kéo dài trong 90 phút ạ, sau đó sẽ là 30 phút dành cho phần Q&A và phần khảo sát sau tập huấn. Các thầy cô nếu có câu hỏi nào dành cho diễn giả thì vui lòng mình sẽ đợi đến 30 phút ở phần Q&A để diễn giả có thể lắng nghe các thầy cô cũng như là giải đáp các thầy cô một cách tốt hơn. Và cuối buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay thì ban tổ chức sẽ gửi mã QR và đường link khảo sát tới các quý thầy cô thông qua màn hình và chat box cũng như là phần comment dưới livestream của YouTube và fanpage Tiếng Anh Global Success. Các thầy cô hãy theo dõi hội thảo sáng nay thật là chăm chú và mình cùng nán lại đến cuối buổi tham gia khảo sát để có thể nhận được giấy chứng nhận của hội thảo ngày hôm nay. Đồng thời thì cũng có những cơ hội để có thể nhận được những phần quà rất là hấp dẫn từ phía ban tổ chức. Vâng, em xin bật mí về phần quà gửi tới các thầy cô ngày hôm nay ạ. 15 phần quà mà ban tổ chức đã chuẩn bị sẵn sẽ được dành tới cho 15 thầy cô gửi khảo sát về cho ban tổ chức sớm nhất và có chất lượng nhất. Và 15 phần quà đó là gì ạ? Rất là hấp dẫn ạ. 15 phần quà này thì mỗi phần quà sẽ bao gồm một bộ truyện đọc tiếng Anh Storyland lớp 1 đến lớp 5 giúp bổ trợ kỹ năng tiếng Anh dành cho các em thông qua hoạt động đọc truyện và kể chuyện. Bên cạnh đó là thứ hai là bộ bài tập phát triển năng lực tiếng Anh 3 để các thầy cô có thể giúp các em củng cố và nâng cao kiến thức kỹ năng tiếng Anh theo chương trình giáo dục phổ thông 2018. Và thứ ba nữa đó là bộ quân rối tiếng Anh 123 để có thể hỗ trợ các thầy cô tổ chức hoạt động dạy ở trên lớp. Vâng ạ, danh sách nhận quà thì sẽ được ban tổ chức công bố vào cuối giờ chiều ngày hôm nay ạ. Nên các thầy cô chúng ta sẽ cố gắng theo dõi và chọn hội thảo ngày hôm nay được không ạ? Vâng, cảm ơn các thầy các cô. Và ngoài ra thì cuối buổi thì thầy Blue cũng sẽ gửi tới các thầy cô một cái khảo sát nhỏ của thầy về nội dung của buổi hội thảo để có thể tiếp thu thêm những ý kiến của các thầy cô về nội dung cũng như là phần trình bày của mình trong buổi sáng ngày hôm nay. Vâng, và bây giờ thì em sẽ xin phép được bắt đầu nội dung chính của hội thảo sáng nay. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Blue Aaron Melia, the academic consultant and teacher trainer from Macmillan, Southeast Asia. Mr. Blue has had more than 13 years of experience in ELT teaching, and his students include a large number of Vietnamese young learners. So I'm pretty sure that he has a very profound understanding about Vietnamese students, and he will have a lot of helpful tips to share with you all teachers today. And besides, Mr. Blue is also a certified IELTS examiner, and his forte is helping his teacher, his colleagues, you teachers to fuel learners' passion in learning English and to help them have the motivation in learning English through the interesting class experience. And if some of you here may have watched the demo teaching videos for Tiếng Anh for Global Success, you have recognized Mr. Blue right away because he's the teacher in the video who has demonstrated a lot of interesting activities and helpful, effective techniques in introducing vocabulary and grammar for Tiếng Anh textbooks. And if you haven't had a chance to watch these videos, please access to our YouTube channel, Tiếng Anh Global Success, right after this workshop, so you can watch these videos. Okay, so now teacher Phương, the stage is yours. Thank you so much for coming here and being our speakers today. And we are so looking forward to your sharing today. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Giảng. And thank you to everyone around Vietnam for joining us on this Friday morning. Firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Blue, as Miss Giảng just said, and today's workshop, just let me get it ready to share. So let me share my screen with everybody. One moment, please. Make sure I've shared the sound as well so you can hear clearly. I hope everyone around Vietnam can hear me. Tell me to slow down if I need to slow down. Tell me to speed up if I'm going too slow. Okay. But today's workshop, for the next 90 minutes, 2 hours, we'll be focusing on classroom management. Just give me a yes or a no in a chat if you can see my screen. See that okay? I will try my best to am I on at the moment? Yeah, it says Zoom quit. Can I confirm that I am?
Yeah, I can see you.
Am I back?
Em xin lỗi các quý thầy cô, hiện tại thì đầu cầu đang có một chút vấn đề về kỹ thuật ở phía speaker. Speaker sẽ quay trở lại ngay ạ. Các thầy cô vui lòng chờ 1 phút ạ.
Mute. Again, just before we get going, so this works perfectly, everybody. Just give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me and if you can see my screen, okay? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. That's wonderful. So, welcome again. Today's session is on classroom management. Would anyone like to say anything in the chat before we go any further? You can see my screen right there. Would anyone like to point anything out to me? It'd be very useful if you could. Anything worth pointing out? Please go ahead. Anything about my first screen? What can you see? Is there anything wrong? I have lots of yeses, but what mistake can you see? Thank you there, Ian. Thank you, Hung Ian. It's not correct. Yeah, of course, classroom. Okay, so let's get that changed. Classroom management. Yeah, thank you. The K for a C. Classroom management. So that brings me on to my first point, really, about classroom management. Making mistakes is actually a really useful technique as a teacher to deliver to your students for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a great way to see if your students are actively listening or reading to your particular lesson. If you make a mistake on your board and a student can point it out and say, hey, excuse me, teacher, I see a spelling mistake there. Excuse me, teacher, I see a grammatical mistake there. Brilliant. Okay, you've got their attention. They're actively listening or reading, paying attention. Number two, it's a great way to comprehension check. Maybe you are introducing a particular grammar point to your lesson. It's a great way to see what the students already understand before you introduce today's lesson. So it's a nice way to comprehension check. And finally, it builds confidence. It's nice when these students can actually correct the mistakes that the teacher's made. They feel that inner confidence that, oh, well done me. I did something right. Okay, so there's a number of really useful reasons for making purposeful mistakes in your lesson. So have a think about that one. So before we begin, I don't know you. There's over 3,000 of you this morning, so thank you very much. And you don't know me, okay? So let's you get to know me, okay? I'm going to give you a number of questions in the chat. Can you write your guess, please? So have a guess and finish my sentences. Number one, my name is Blue, okay, like the color. And I was named after a C from an American TV show. So what is that C, everybody in the chat? Please have a guess. A cartoon, says Nazil. In color, comedy, a color. I was named after a color, but I was named after an American TV show. We've got cartoon, color, center, Chanel, clown. That's a good guess. Clown. My mum thinks I'm a clown. Center. The answer actually is I was named after a cowboy. Yeah. This cowboy is called Billy Boy Blue. And I was named after him. So I was named after a cowboy. There you go. So question number 2 about me. I'm years old. Have a guess. Be friendly. I'm not 4. I wish I was 4. 18. That's too nice. 30. A lot of 30s. That's very. 40. Ooh. 42. Did I just see? My word. 33. 70. Said somebody. Thank you. 39. 37 is the correct answer. I'm 37 years old. Okay. Question number 3 about me is this one right here. In my free time, I enjoy playing blank. Games, football, sports, computer games, tennis, football, soccer, chess. I wish I knew how to play chess. But the answer is I'm a big football fan. Okay, football in my free time, playing football, watching football, thinking about football. Yes. And the last question. My favorite Vietnamese dish. My favorite Vietnamese dish is pho, bún chả. Got some pho there again. Bún chả. Pancake, bánh xèo. Bánh xèo. Bún chả. Yeah, my favorite Vietnamese dish is bún chả. It's my favorite. I eat it probably once or twice a week. So yeah, now you know me. Okay, thank you for your guesses, everybody. So that's my second point I would like to make to everybody. Building rapport. You need to build a relationship beyond teacher and student. Okay, in terms of classroom management, when you've got your students on your side because there's a relationship built, it's going to allow your lessons to flow a lot easier. Okay, and just like there, you don't know me. I'm just some foreigner in front of you for the next 2 hours, but it's important that we build a relationship so I have your attention for the next 90 minutes, 2 hours. So take your time, get to know your class, share information about yourself, your free time, anything like that. And again, it's useful. It builds that English in your students. They want to ask you questions and they become inquisitive and engaged. And that will really help when it comes to your classroom management and everything that is included in the elements that make classroom management and your lesson a success. So let's look at what we're looking at today, which is classroom management. So here's today's agenda. Firstly, we're going to focus on the issues, the obstacles, the obstacles and the difficulties that you face in your classroom. Okay, so I really want your input. Secondly, we're going to look at methods. So we've got the difficulties and the problems. What can we do? What methods can we use to make your life easier in the classroom? And thirdly, engaging and fun activities that motivate your students, because motivation is a key word when it comes to classroom management. You have to make sure your students feel energized and enthused to study English. Otherwise, your job will be doubly difficult. So that's today's agenda. But first, I've got some bad news, but I need your help. Okay, this here is Rex. Okay, Rex the dog. Now, sadly, Rex is missing. We've lost him. Okay, he will come back. He always comes back. But I want you to tell me in my presentation today, how many times can you spot Rex? Okay, how many times do you see him? When I go through my PowerPoint, just count how many times you see my pet dog, Rex. So please, I need your help. Count for me. How many times do you see Rex? Okay, good luck. So, effective classroom management. Firstly, why do we do it? It facilitates your learning. It's part of the learning. It's part of your teaching. If you have good, strong classroom management skills, it's so much easier to teach. It's easier for your students to learn. So that's number one. Number two, it motivates learners. There's a number of classroom management techniques we will look at today that will really motivate your students. Thirdly, it promotes positivity. There's a number of ways that you can be positive with your classroom management skills, and we'll look at that in today's session. And lastly, hopefully, with all of this combined, it creates a welcoming, positive environment where your students want to learn, especially when it comes to English, okay? Because you know you're going to get some students who are scared, worried, reluctant to use their English. So classroom management really helps to sort of bring them out and build that confidence. So let's brainstorm some ideas together. All right. I'm going to give you some time to discuss today's topic. To define some time, I mean around 3 minutes. And when I say discuss, I don't really mean discuss, as maybe some of you, most of you are at home, in school, in front of a computer. Nobody to discuss with. So please replace the word discuss with think about. I'm going to give you around 3 minutes to think about today's topic. I'm going to provide you with a link to an online Padlet. And on that online Padlet, I want you to write down any issues and problems you face in your classroom. I would also like you to, when I say write down, I don't mean with a pen and paper. I mean typing using your keyboard. After 3 minutes, which is 180 seconds, we'll share your problems. Does everybody understand? Probably not. What's wrong with my explanation here, everybody? Is there anything wrong with my instructions? Tell me now. Please tell me any mistakes I've made with my instruction giving. If you are my students, what's wrong with my instructions? Anything? I've got a few yeses, but why? Yes, thank you, Trung Thu. Too long and complicated, too many steps. And that's number one of classroom management. Students have to understand what you want them to do. So you have to be clear, but concise with your instruction giving, especially if you're using your L2, your English in the classroom. So giving instructions, making them short, clear, concise. Use gestures, body movement to reinforce key points. And of course, ask ICQs, instruction checking questions. Make sure that your students have understood by asking them what you want them to do. That should be your final step. Okay, so yes, giving instructions is a really key part of classroom management. So what you're going to do is a Padlet like this. Okay, think of a Padlet as an online notice board. Okay, and what you need to do when I share the link in a moment is answer the 5 questions that you can see highlighted here. Okay, you've got 3 or 4 minutes, so get typing away. If you can't type, if you're in a big room, talk to people around you with the 5 questions. And basically what you need to do is click where it says click here to add your comments. So let's give 3 or 4 minutes to try and fill up this Padlet board with what problems you face in your classroom. And then we will come back and I will see what has been written. Okay, so let me share that link with you now. So if you just give me one moment, everybody, I'm going to put the link into the chat. So try not to type anything just yet, everybody, so everyone can click on the link that I have just sent you. I hope that has come through to everybody. Can everyone see that link? Give it a click. Yes, I can see grade 5 there. Wonderful. Okay, so 3 or 4 minutes, everybody. Get typing away on the Padlet, and we will report back and see what you have written. Wonderful. Don't worry about no sound, everybody. Just fill in that Padlet. You've got 3 minutes. Two minutes, everybody. 2 minutes. High footnote. 2 minutes. Let me share there you go. So for those of you who haven't got Padlet in front of you, here are the questions. Okay. Could not access the link. Let me share that link again. Here you are. Try that, Trung Q. What I will do right now is I will share the Padlet to see what people are writing. So let me share that screen with you, everybody. It's looking really good. So let's have a look at it right now. So, yeah, again, many of the problems the same. What difficulties do you face? Noisy classrooms, less attention, lack of space. Yes, that's a good one. Lack of space. What grades do you struggle with? Grade 1 again, grade 2. So you're talking those young learners, grade 5 there as well. Students speak too soft, although I asked them to speak louder thousands of times. Different students have different levels of English. Yeah, guys, you are saying everything that I thought you would say in terms of your classroom issues. And as you can imagine, all of these issues lead to responsive and passive students. Students that don't learn because maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't get the opportunity to speak because there's too many students in the classroom. So all of these issues are related and can be connected through good classroom management. Let's have a look at a few more. What do you do to get their attention? Songs and games. Wonderful. Some lovely ideas there, everyone. You may stop writing on the Padlet and we'll go back to my screen. So let's jump back. So here are the questions we looked at. So hopefully you can see my screen again in a moment. See my screen? There we go. There's my screen. Yeah, so these are the questions we looked at. What issues do you
Dạ vâng, thưa quý thầy cô ạ, bên đầu cầu speaker lại có một chút trục trặc kỹ thuật ạ. Các thầy cô vui lòng chờ khoảng 2 phút ạ. Em cảm ơn các thầy cô. Dạ vâng, trong lúc chờ đợi bộ phận kỹ thuật đang xử lý thì em xin được nhắc lại một lần nữa về chương trình của buổi chiều ngày hôm nay ạ. Ở buổi sáng hôm nay thì phần chia sẻ của thầy Blue sẽ về phương pháp giảng dạy. Thế còn buổi chiều ngày hôm nay thì phần chia sẻ của diễn giả Trần Nguyễn Phương Thùy đến từ Bộ Giáo dục Tiểu học của Bộ Giáo dục Đào tạo thì sẽ tập trung vào nội dung là kiểm tra đánh giá cho môn tiếng Anh dành cho cấp tiểu học theo chương trình giáo dục phổ thông mới và hướng dẫn soạn kế hoạch bài dạy theo công văn 2345. Các thầy cô chúng em có nhận được rất là nhiều phản hồi từ các thầy cô về việc là gặp những cái khó khăn trong quá trình cũng như là soạn bài dạy theo 2345, nên em chắc chắn là nội dung mà chiều nay diễn giả chia sẻ sẽ là những nội dung mà rất là thiết thực, rất là hữu ích cho các thầy cô trong cái quá trình giảng dạy và tổ chức các hoạt động kiểm tra đánh giá cũng như là chuẩn bị cho bài học ở trên lớp. Các thầy cô hãy nhớ là buổi hội thảo chiều nay sẽ được bắt đầu từ lúc 2 giờ ạ, và sẽ kết thúc vào lúc 4 giờ chiều ạ. Và em cảm ơn các thầy cô ạ. Em rất là xin lỗi các thầy cô vì sốt chút sự cố về mặt kỹ thuật. Speaker sẽ quay trở lại trong vòng 1 phút nữa ạ. Em cảm ơn các thầy cô vì sự thông cảm. Em cảm ơn ạ. Dạ thưa các thầy cô, hiện tại thì phần Zoom đã đặt mức tối đa các điểm cầu rồi, nên các thầy cô mà muốn theo dõi hội thảo sáng nay thì các thầy cô vui lòng mình truy cập vào kênh YouTube và fanpage của Tiếng Anh Global Success để có thể theo dõi được một cách trọn vẹn ạ. So welcome back, Teacher Blue. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, a few internet issues this morning, but thank you for staying with me. So let me get the chat ready so I can see everybody's comments. But let's just share some common issues that you just wrote in the Padlet. So let me share now with you. blah, blah, blah. Let's brainstorm. Number one. There we go. Follow the Padlet link. We did that. Let's share. Number one, lack of attention and focus. A number of you wrote that in the Padlet, a very common issue, especially if they are having difficulty understanding the English in the classroom. Maybe they're low level, okay? And that will lead to lack of attention and certainly a lack of focus. Secondly, students are tired, bored. We know here in Vietnam, students have it tough, okay? School days are long. If you've got your students in that fifth period, at the end of the day, maybe they're lacking energy that you need to somehow manage in order to get the best out of your students and sort of get them enthused and engaged in your lesson. They're restricted by material or the curriculum. This is very common, where maybe there's something you want to teach, but as a teacher, as an educator, you are under pressure to deliver something else, the curriculum, which again can lead to problems in the classroom, where you see there's an English problem that needs to be resolved, but maybe you don't have the time or you're not allowed to sort of focus on it because there's something else you need to focus on. It's a big issue, very common problem. The next one, of course, large class size. Again, welcome to Vietnam. We know this is an issue where maybe it would be lovely if you had 15 to 20 students, but no, in your primary class, in your secondary class, you have 35, 40 students. It's difficult with the lack of size and the sheer amount of students. Maybe it's their use of their tiếng Việt. Maybe they're speaking more Vietnamese than they are English. What can we do to make this a non-issue? It comes back to classroom management and the teacher, okay? More English, less Vietnamese. They don't want to talk, maybe they're reluctant to speak English. Maybe it's because they're lazy. Maybe it's because they lack confidence or energy. So that one is certainly related to another number of these problems. And maybe there's just a lack of routine or structure in your classroom. Again, that's a key point of classroom management, making sure the students are familiar with your routine so they know what's going to happen next. Maybe it's a different game, it's a different activity, okay? But they know sort of the routine in your class and they feel comfortable with it. That will help you a lot. So those are some common issues that you wrote now on the Padlet that we're going to focus on now. So the first thing is creating rules. So I need your help here, everybody. This is really important. In your class, how many rules are appropriate? How many should you make? How many should you create for your students? Should the emphasis, should the importance be on procedures? Okay, sit down, be quiet, do your homework, or should it be on behavior? Listen more, okay, focus on the teacher. So procedures, behavior, or let's be honest, a mixture of them both of them. So here's a question, please answer it in the chat. Who makes the rules in your class? Please chat away, everyone. Please type. Who makes the rules in your classroom? Are there rules in your classroom? Who makes these rules? Teacher makes the rules. Teacher, both teacher and students. Students make first. That's interesting. Teacher. Yeah, I like the answer that a number of you are coming back with, and that is both. If you can do that, creating classroom rules, creating a classroom contract. Now, this is, of course, led by the teacher. Of course it is. But get your students on your side by creating their own rules and obligations. So at the start of your school year, maybe you know you're going to see this class for the next 32 weeks. Okay, you need to understand each other. You need to understand the rules that you expect from them and what they expect from themselves. So what I would do at the beginning of my class, for the beginning of the school year, is I would collaborate with the students and I would make them come up with the rules and a contract. I've seen it in many Vietnamese classrooms that I have visited over the years. It's beautiful, it's big, it's in the corner of the room. and it's got the signatures of each student on, and there's like 10 rules what students can and should not do. And what's beautiful about this is it makes the students accountable for their own behavior and breaking their own rules. And it also allows the teacher to take a step back, because now the students are managing one another and they are almost policing one another's behavior, because they know the rules are there and they don't want anybody to break the rules. They're proud of the rules that they set. So again, it's a great idea in your classroom. It's fun, it's creative, it's engaging, and it gets the students fully understood on what is acceptable and what they should and should not be doing. So I want you to imagine you're a student in your class. Via the chat box, very quickly, tell me a rule that you would include in your classroom. Let's have a look. What rule? Just tell me one, that's fine. A rule that you would include in your classroom. Please type away, everybody. Again, if you can't type, take this moment to discuss with the people around you. I know a number of you are joining us in a big room with colleagues and other teachers. So please, I encourage you to chat to each other. Keep your hands and feet to yourself, says Minduk. Come nói tiếng Việt, says someone from Hanoi. One speaker only. I like that. One voice in the classroom, whether it be the teacher or the student that you should be listening to. Very good point. Raise your hand when you want to share. Be police. I like that. Police each other. Yeah, it's again, it creates responsibility. Be happy. I like that. And I like be happy because we're talking about classroom rules here, but positivity and being happy is really important. I like that one. Keep silent, says Yamin. Pay attention, never give up, have fun. I love some of these positive rules that would go into your contract. Guys, you've got it. You've got the idea. I'm hoping that many of you implement this idea already. Okay, it's a really good idea. It's a strong idea, and it gets your students on your side. So everybody loves a closed activity. So let's do one now very quickly. I will read. Feel free to type away or chat away what you think the missing words are. So here we go. Classroom rules. The first step towards effective classroom management is to establish a solid focus, says Sun. Focus. We've got a solid. Focus is a verb, to focus. So a solid, we're looking for a noun here. A solid what? The base of something. Friendship is good. I like that. Guys, the answer is solid foundation. Based on are and are. Framework is good. Framework it could be. A solid framework is a good guess, certainly. Rules and what? Rules and rules. What could it be, everyone? We've got rules, so you're 50% there. Routine. Rules and routines. Thank you. I missed your name, but well done. Once rules and routines are established, the teacher can then something. We've got two letters there. So 2 words. It could be a phrasal verb. Well done, whoever said that. Giảng, Nguyen, Viet, Yaman, set up. Well done. And manage activities using management techniques for getting A. What could A be, everybody? Attention, again, giving effective instructions, setting up and GW. Group work, says Hanvar. Grow up, says Yang. Setting up group work. Well done. And maintaining something and something. What do we think, everybody? What can we maintain if we have good classroom management? Again, that word attention and motivation, engagement, enthusiasm. Yeah, this basically, everybody, is the basis of today's workshop. Strong classroom management can bring you these things: make your lesson flow, students interact, and it makes lesson activity A to B to C to D run so smooth. And that's what we're looking for, isn't it, in our classrooms? So everyone, here's 2 words for you: stirrers and settlers. Do these 2 words mean anything to you guys? We have stir, and we have his sister, settle. Do these words mean anything to you? Speak slowly, please. Yes, Pa, I will. Stir and settle. Do these words mean anything to you? Yeah, says Anfung. So let's take a look, shall we? What do these words mean? Stir and settle. Stirrers. What are stirrers? Stirrers are games, activities, anything in your class that incorporates energy, maybe some TPR, some total physical response, student movement, okay, where they're going to engage with one another, maybe move around the classroom, but they're going to do some kind of physical movement activity, chatting to each other, that's going to bring lots of energy to your classroom. So you use these maybe at the beginning of a lesson when students feel tired and you want to bring the energy level up. And they're a good way to sort of grab students' attention. So my stirrers at the beginning of this classroom management: number 1, I made mistakes. Number 2, I asked you to interact with me about me. Number 3, I told you about my missing dog, Rex. How many times can you spot him? So some kind of energized activities that might create a lively atmosphere if they are done in your classroom, not online. And again, they might be discussions, games, role plays, but anything that might create that loud, lively atmosphere in your classroom. And then we have settlers. Settlers. What are settlers? Just be quiet. I'm trying to relax. I'm very sorry about that. Well, can you tell me what settlers are? Sure, I can do that. But when I finish, you must... Okay, no problem. We will. But yeah, settlers, everybody. Settlers. What do we think settlers are? Now, settlers are activities or tasks that are used to calm students, relax them. Maybe you've just played an energetic game in your classroom. Now you want your students to sit down, relax, maybe do some workbook exercise or some writing. Again, these are used in contrast to stirrers, where maybe you just want to bring the energy level down and make people quiet or focus on something in your lesson, maybe a listening activity. And they help to maintain students' attention, keep them attentive, sort of relax them. So stirrers and settlers are a key point of classroom management because you have to know when your students need that energy or where maybe they need less energy and brought down again. So have a look at these stirrers and settlers now. Which activities are stirrers and which are settlers? I'm not going to make you do this, but just take a look and maybe write one in the chat that you think is a stirrer or one in the chat that you think is a settler. Okay. So there's a number of different things in the classroom here. Which ones do you think are energetic stirrers or relaxing settlers? Let's give an example. Let's say singing. I pointed out singing. So yeah, Chung-kyo has just put reading. What do we think about reading? Is that a stirrer or settler? Or could it be both? Yeah, so singing, of course, would be a stirrer, wouldn't it? Energetic classroom. But with reading, reading's a very interesting one because, again, you can do some self-reading, some reading by yourself, or maybe some group reading out aloud where you can incorporate a game activity and it becomes a stirrer. So again, it depends what you want in your classroom. But when you think about the organization of your lesson plan, consider what activities are energetic stirrers and which ones are relaxing settlers, because it's really important in the classroom to manage them well and make sure you have a nice balance between one another. So, stirrers and settlers. Wonderful, Jewel Hop. Stirrers, games, videos, DVD, races. Yeah, wonderful. Really good. Thank you. Stirrers and settlers. Again, consider, do you have a nice balance between the two? And as I mentioned, make sure within your lesson plan, there's a good mixture and how you mix them together. So we're going to practice that now. A quick task. I've got a lesson plan right here. Here we go. Here's my lesson plan. In the chat, can you just order this how you would have it in your classroom? I've highlighted the first letter, OVWYS. So in the chat, just put the letter, which one you would do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Again, there's no wrong answer here. It's just interesting to see what your structure would be in order to have a stirrer, settler, settler, stirrer. How would you mix it up? So we've got someone here, YO. So you do the YouTube dance video first. That makes sense. Get them energized. And again, the next person is exactly the same. Many people would start with the YouTube dance video. How would people end? S. Student workbook at the end. That's interesting. Before the end of the lesson, you want everybody to be relaxed before they leave the room. Many of you are starting with the YouTube video, ending with the student workbook. Very interesting. Again, there's no wrong answer. It's just interesting to see what approach you would take. And many of you have put the same as what I would do. Yeah. You've got a speaking activity in the middle there with their opinion sharing. But you start with the energetic dance, finish with the student book focus. Yeah, wonderful. Good ideas. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, consider students and activities when it comes to up and energetic, balanced, relaxed, come back down. Really important. So everybody, I'm going to be quiet now. Please read this slide. Second sentence. Please answer my question. No, you can't hear anything. I know you can't. Can anyone answer the question for that second jumbled up sentence? England, says Charles. Thank you, Charles. You are the first. So, what does the second sentence say? In the chat, would you like to visit my country? No. Almost. It asks you to write in the chat a country that you would like to visit. Okay, in the chat, tell me a country you'd like to visit. Thank you, Haiphong. You're not Haiphong, are you? You're from Haiphong, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, you're correct. In the chat, tell me a country you would like to visit. America. I've had England. I've had America. Please answer my question. China. Singapore. Paris, Hanoi. Cities, not countries, almost. France, Vietnam. Singapore, England. Wonderful. So that leads me on to my next point, everybody. Think of ways that you can transition. So when I say transition, of course, you're moving from activity A to activity B. What can you do? So in between, you maintain your students' attention. I tried maintaining your attention by saying nothing and having you figure out what I wanted you to do. Okay. So in your classroom, how can you transition from one activity to another? Of course, you need to get your students' attention. You've just done the YouTube dance. You've just played a game. They're very energized. They're very active. But now you want them to settle and relax because you want to do the student book with them. How do you sort of transition from them around the classroom to getting 30 students sat back down, focused, and ready to move on to the next thing? Now, this is really important because in your class, you could lose 2 or 3 minutes just trying to get your students ready to focus again. So how do you do it? What do you do in your classroom to get them ready? Okay, teacher, oh, teacher's ready. I'm ready. How? What do you do? Show pictures, flashcards, good idea. Sounds, yeah. Do you play a certain sound? They know that sound means get ready, teacher's ready. That's a good one. Show pictures or posters. Yeah, some good ideas, guys. A mini game, that's interesting, HQ, because you've just played a game and now you want to do something else, but you play a mini game to transition. Very interesting. But actually, a very good point, which we will look at later. Pictures, play a mini game, body language, clapping as well. Wonderful. TPR. So, what I like to do is some instruction dictation. So I will dictate exactly what I want my students to do. So I'm going to do that now for you. If you have a pen and paper, please use it. If you don't, just listen. But I would like you to draw a table. And the table is 5 squares by 3 squares. Okay, so there's 5 squares going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 3 squares going across. 5 by 3. Draw a quick table. And then I would give you the words that I want you to write in my table. So basically, I'm settling back down and I'm actually getting them to fully listen to my instructions because they need my instructions to do the next part of the lesson. So I would say, students, in box number 1, column 1, row 1. Again, I might introduce the words column and row. I would like you to write the word country. So they're there thinking, how do I spell country? Country, how do you spell country? So you might spell country, make it some writing dictation, but mostly it's just instruction dictation. Second column, first row, can you write the word technique? So that's what we would do, write the word technique. Third column, first row, write the word purpose. And again, they discuss, they make sure they're doing the right thing. And then I will show them what we are doing. I will show them the table or anything that you might be looking at next in your book or in your lesson. So I basically get them to prepare as part of my transition. And so here's a table looking at different countries and what techniques they use. So here, for example, you can see South Korea. Someone mentioned it, clapping, maybe a short song, but the strong is almost like an instruction that says, hey, we need to be ready and focused. Okay, it means the change of activity. This country, what country is that one, guys? The second one. I put a flag there, have a guess. What country is that second one? The first flag, second. It's a beautiful flag. It is, of course, the beautiful country of the Philippines. And they do a lot of finger clicking. Okay, lots of finger clicking with chanting to make sure that the students are ready to move on. What about that third country? The second flag, what do we have? Thailand, yes, of course. And again, it's all very similar. Some kind of stop, look, listen instructions, physical movement. And again, this is very general. Of course, not every teacher does this, but again, it's a number of techniques used in different countries by a number of different educators. And the final country, Indonesia. Well done, Giáo. Indonesia, and they use instruments. Okay, the tambourine. Tambourine sound means students must be ready to focus on the next piece of work. So a huge part of classroom management is transitioning, because without transitioning, you're going to waste a number of minutes in your classroom, and that can be a big, big problem. So we're going to play a game right now, and this game is well, it's in the classroom, it would be a stirrer, okay? But when we play this game now, imagine you are in the classroom with a whiteboard. Your students are writing answers on a board or paper, but we have to play it online. So I hope when we play it online, you can see how it would work in your classroom. Now, before we play this game, I'm going to make sure my sound is working, because it wasn't working earlier for the other. There we go. Share sound. Okay. Share my screen again. I hope everyone can see my screen. So let me explain this game. It's called Be Unique. You're going to play this in your classroom, but we're going to play it online. Now, let me explain. I'll ask you one question. You'll write your answer in the chat. Okay? So you're going to write your answer to my question in the chat box. When I say send, you'll send your answer to the rest of the chat. Okay? But only when I say send, not before. If your answer is unique and different to everyone else's answer you see in the chat, you win 1 point. Now, of course, we have over 1,000, 2,000 people in the chat. In your classroom, you're going to have 25, 30 students. So today in the chat, you don't have to look at everybody's answer. Just look at the answers closest to yours. If you see your answer again, no points. If you don't see your answer is unique, you get 1 point. Okay. So there's the chat box. So remember how to chat to me. Okay.
Psst, blue. Blue.
Do we have any sound? One moment, everybody. Yeah, I need sound. Yeah, the sound would be great. My mouse doesn't work. Apologies, everyone. 1 moment. Let's get sound.
You can try it.
Yeah, they won't.
Psst, blue.
Okay. Guys, we're going to move forward because we haven't got any sound. Okay. But let's just see. So I hope you understand my instructions. They were going to be repeated, so I'll just repeat them again. You're going to write your answer in the chat. Okay. So you can't hear this crazy guy now.
Yeah,
but basically, it's going to give you the instructions. You're going to write your answer.
I am a pirate. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Good.
But
the chat. There you go.
You're going to type
Just
your answer, but don't press send until I
And basically, Blue's going to ask you a question. For example,
5,
name
4,
a yellow
3,
fruit.
2, 1.
So you're going to type your answer. So here's my answer.
Do not send your answer before the teacher tells you to. Right. Let's
and
see.
then when Blue says 5.
So here's question 1. Let me get the chat ready so I can see it. Remember, write your answer. Do not send your answer. Here we go. Name something you associate with Vietnam. Again, don't send your answer yet. Just type it, but don't send. Wait for me to count you down. Don't write, don't send your answer. Okay. Guys, I'm going to do some ICQs here, some instruction checking questions. Okay. Stop sending your answers. Stop. Right. I want you to send your answer. When? When do I want you to send your answer? Now? I want you to send your answer when I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send. Okay. So let's try this again. Okay, next question. Just write one answer as well, but wait for me to tell you to send. Okay. Name an adjective that has 3 syllables. Nope, don't send your answer. Hot has 1 syllable. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, send. Again, if your answer is the same as someone else you see, I see beautiful many times, wonderful many times. If your answer is different, you would get 1 point in the classroom. Again, this is a really fun game. They want to be unique. It expands their vocabulary. They're thinking of different words. It's easy to think of beautiful, beautiful, but can they think of any other adjectives that have 3 syllables? Okay, so again, be unique. Right, let's try one more game. Hopefully you'll understand these instructions. Give me a clue. So for this game, I need a volunteer. So I need someone in the chat to volunteer, please. Anybody. I need a volunteer in the chat. Someone say, yes, Mr. Blue. I will. Me, thank you. Okay, I've got one there. Chiu Hop and Hung In. Okay, Hung In. Okay, I've got 2 people. It might be Bang and Hung In. Let me explain the rules. But you are my volunteers, my 2 volunteers. Okay. So in this game, you 2 will close your eyes. I trust you. I hope. I trust you. Close your eyes. The rest of you, I will show you a picture. Okay. But you 2 volunteers, keep your eyes closed. Everybody, when you see the picture, you will type a 1-word clue to the 2 people who volunteered to close their eyes. Okay. And then volunteers, Bang and who is it? Hung In. I will ask you to open your eyes and you will look at the 1-word clues in the chat and you will try to guess what the picture was. Okay. Let's give an example. Okay. So example, I'm going to show a picture of a banana. Everybody in the chat will write a 1-word clue. Do not write banana. So you might write fruit, yellow, monkey. And what this does is it allows your students to think of other words and not just the easy words. Because if I showed you a banana, everybody would write fruit, yellow, and monkey. So maybe you need to expand and think of different words to help the person who is guessing. So let's try this, okay? Good luck. I hope it works. So my two volunteers, can you close your eyes, please? I will tell you when to open your eyes. So everybody else, can you write a one-word clue for this picture? See, again, all the same kind of words. Yeah. Thank you. Volunteers, can you open your eyes? Have a look at the clues in the chat. We have students, infrastructure. That's good. Study, place, teacher. My two volunteers, can you write what you think the word is? Yes, bang, school. In school. Yes, well done. You've got it. So let's try one more. So ladies, gentlemen, if you can close your eyes again. And you get the idea. Most of you, many of you put students and study, these kind of same words. But in the classroom, when you play this, you want to see what other words they can think of that they connect to school. So it's a really good way to encourage them to expand the vocab that they already have. So let's try one more. Close your eyes, please, ladies. Okay. Write your one-word clue, everybody. Chocolate, that's nice. And volunteers, open your eyes. Have a look at the clues. We've got money, money. Heart, happy, happy, happy. Heart, feeling, hug, great, kiss, verb. Yeah, well done. I just saw the answer. The answer was love, of course. So again, I hope you see those two games and the value of those two games in terms of expanding vocabulary and encouraging students to think bigger than what they are already. Again, maybe they're not working perfectly online as an example, but in your classroom, they are wonderful vocab building activities to sort of unearth vocab that your students already have in there. And it's a really creative and fun game. So let's talk about games and classroom management. They're a great way to manage your classroom. And why? Because they lend themselves to the flow of your lesson. So someone in the chat earlier said mini games are a good way to transition. Yeah, they really are. You're not playing a game maybe for an activity, but you're playing a game as a management technique. We'll look at that in a moment. Basically, you're using the game as a reward, as an incentive system to be organized. So you've just played a game, everyone is everywhere crazy, and you want their attention. Put the game on the board. Oh, if I sit nicely, I'm ready, teacher will choose me. And that's the beauty of it. If they can see that you want them to be ready, there's a game incorporated into them being ready, it really does allow you to transition a lot smoother. A good example of this is this game here. Again, this is a management game. It's a classroom management game. And basically, you can see they pick a number and they have to find the treasure. Okay. And I wouldn't play this as a game. It's more just managing my class. Well done, Bao. You are ready. Choose a number. Well done, Giang. You are ready. Choose a number. And the students know this, and they know that if they are ready and attentive and listening to their teacher, they will choose a box. And let's choose some numbers here. Someone give me a number. 15, I saw. 15, way, well done. 19. Let's see, 19. 8, I saw. I put a number of boxes in. 8, there isn't one. But you get the idea. And what you can even do is you can change this template. Maybe you can include some bombs on there, so where you lose some treasure. Or maybe you include a generous princess, where you have some treasure, but you're going to give the treasure to somebody else. So it's a really nice management game that will really help you with your transitions. And with these games, I have them on a Google Drive and I will happily share them at the end of this session. Share you the link. And there's a number of PowerPoint templates that you can change in your classroom that will really help you with your classroom management. Okay, so there's one good example. So here's a lesson. I'm teaching about toys, okay, in my lesson, and I've got the vocab right there. I've got, you know, your car, doll, robot, ball, teddy bear. Drilling new vocabulary. Oh, it can be pretty boring, can't it? By its very nature, drilling is repetitive. That's what it is. You drill, you repeat. But it's pretty boring, isn't it? Especially if you're a student. The problem with drilling is it can be a very passive activity where students are repeating what you're saying. Teacher says, toy. Student says, toy. But they're not really grasping the language. They're not grasping the enunciation, the pronunciation, the skill, the delivery. They're just repeating nothing. So how can we make drilling more engaging, more fun, in order to maintain attention and focus? And again, it comes down to gamifying that experience. Okay, so here's one I use. Here's the ice creams. We've got two teams in my classroom. Team A, Team B, split down the middle. And again, I'm going to drill the vocabulary for today's lesson. And well done, Team A. That was really good. Scoop of ice cream to you. Well done, Team 1 again. You were the best. Well done, Team 1 again. You were the best. Team 2, you need to wake up. Team 2, get it? And of course, you can see the scoops of ice cream is a race right to the top. There you go. And again, the beauty of this is it allows you to control and manage the speed of your class. You know that you want to drill these words for the next 10 minutes. They're new words. They're not easy words. And you really want your students to feel comfortable knowing them, pronouncing them. If you can incorporate drilling into some kind of PowerPoint management game, it doesn't have to be PowerPoint. This is just an example online. It could be a whiteboard, a blackboard, where you just have 100% at the top, students race to top 100%. A mountain, top of the mountain. Okay, a football goal, kick the ball into the goal. Anything like that that shows progress to a finish is a really nice way of keeping your students' attention when trying to drill new vocabulary. And again, I will share these at the end of the session with you. So yeah, games, wonderful. Everybody loves games, but make sure you use a systematic approach. And when I say systematic approach, what I mean is make your game a reason. Don't just play a game to play a game. Make sure it's part of your lesson that's going to help you to teach. Okay. For example, classroom management in order to get their attention when transitioning, or maybe when you're drilling and it can be boring, but you want to keep your students' attention. A great way to implement a game. After each activity, after each unit, use it as a reward system, as we've spoken about. And again, you can reward based on a number of factors. Task completion. Teacher, I finished. Well done, Fook. Choose a number. Collaboration. Team 1, you're working really well together. Team 2, Team 3 are still talking, but you are ready. Choose a number. Behavior. Choose a number. Being ready. Choose a number. So again, games are wonderful as a management resource. Use them when you can, everybody. Oh, here's another. Let's choose a box. So I'm going to go to remove a box. Everyone, please write in the chat. What is it? Oh, I should say, where is it? And I'm sure most of you will guess from that second box. River, a river. It's not quite a river. And again, you've all got it. It's Halong Bay. Yeah. So again, even something like this, like missing pictures, is a great way to introduce new vocabulary, or even as a review of the vocabulary you just studied. So you've just studied toy, doll, car, put them into this kind of PowerPoint, reveal. Great way to keep their attention. So collaboration. We all are educators. We all are teachers. And one thing that is really important in today's classroom is teamwork and collaboration. You want your students to work together for a number of different reasons. More so, maybe the most important, using their English. You want to give them the opportunity to use their English. And so teams, pairs, a great way to manage their own behavior. Okay, it makes your job easier and it puts the responsibility back onto the students. Comprehension check questions. So maybe you're doing a reading task in your book, okay? And you want to make sure that not every word is understood, but the main idea is understood.
Dạ vâng ạ, rất xin lỗi các thầy cô là hôm nay ở phía đầu cầu trung tâm đường truyền internet có một chút trục trặc nên là thầy thỉnh thoảng có bị out ra ngoài, nhưng mà sẽ quay trở lại ngay trong 1-2 phút thôi ạ. Cảm ơn các thầy các cô ạ.
My apologies, everyone. I hope you can see me and hear me again. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Again, everyone, sorry about that. Let's continue. So where was I? Yeah, you're doing a reading task. Let me make sure you can see my screen. There we go. 3 teams, A to H, I to Q, R to Z. Z, Z. I'm English, so I'm going to go with Z. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions based on the text you will see. Okay. First person to find the answer, type it in the chat. Okay. Yes, I can see you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. So here we go. Comprehension check questions. Okay. First question, everybody. Where did ancient Egyptians live? Where did they live? In houses. Chung, you were the first for team T. Well done. In houses. In a house. In houses, yeah. Question 2. What did people hunt in the River Nile? Hunt, River Nile. Hunt, River Nile. Let's scan that text. Crocodiles, and they fished for fish. Well done. They hunted crocodiles and fish. Last question. How did the Egyptians show their daily life? What did they do? How did they show other people their daily life? Kim Hang. Then. They painted pictures. They drew. They painted pictures. Yes, of course. So collaboration is key. How can we make something like this a collaborative activity? One thing I see a number of students doing, students, teachers, is they take an activity like this and they make it student to student workbook. Okay, how can we bring it out the student workbook? Get your students to create the questions, okay, and then quiz another team. So you've got team A, team B, team C. You need to write 3 questions based on the text to ask the other teams, okay? And then once you're ready, maybe the teacher takes in the questions and you can play a game again. Again, I will put this and share it at the end with you all. But you're going to give each team a board, and maybe on the board, they're going to write their answer, or to make it more teamwork centric, maybe they can only write 1 letter before they pass the board to a teammate to write the second letter. What color is a banana? Yellow, yellow. Y, pass. E, pass. L, pass. L, pass. So again, they know the answer, but they have to work together to write the answer. Put the answer up, and the first team to put the answer up and say the answer, their car will move to the finish line. And again, this has sound as well. Again, I will share it with you. You're going to go through the reading activity with your class, comprehension check everything through questions. You can manage what you want to tell them as well, maybe new vocabulary, because their car's not going to move until you're ready to ask the next question. So again, anything like this is really good when it comes to a reading comprehension activity in your class. Why? Because the game allows you to slow down. You can go through vocabulary. You can check main idea comprehension. And you're incorporating a game into your management of the task. Collaboration. So again, you're going to use whiteboards. And as I mentioned, maybe they can only write 1 letter each of the answer. So fish, F, pass, I, pass, S, pass, before they reveal their answer. Or maybe you can have 2 team members find the answer, and the other student has to listen in the team and write the answer. You could teamwork it like that. Or you could have a student read the text aloud to their teammates, and the students have to listen to their teammate to write the answer. So there's a number of ways you can incorporate listening and speaking into what is a reading activity. You're incorporating 3 key skills into that one activity in your book. It's fun, it's engaging, they learn new words and practice their pronunciation and listening skills whilst playing a game. So yeah, have a think about that when you see activities like that in your book. How can you make it a lot easier to manage, but also more beneficial for your students' learning aims? Come nói tiếng Việt, and this is a big one, isn't it? Many of you mentioned it in the Padlet at the beginning of this workshop. Too much Vietnamese in the classroom, not enough English. So what do we do with that? How can we deal with too much Vietnamese when really all we want is your students to speak English? Nói tiếng Anh. And now, let me say one thing here, very important. The use of your first language isn't always a bad thing. When it comes to low-level students, it's a problem a number of you mentioned. You've got a classroom of students who understand you. And then you've got 2 or 3 students who think, I'm here, I don't understand. And that's going to have a big effect on their learning, but also their behavior and their attention. So again, If needed, L1 is really good for clarifying instructions in Vietnamese. No problem. No problem. I think it's a really useful tool. Okay. And just making sure that students feel confident with what you want them to do because they understand. And that's the key point. If they don't understand, it's not going to work. So if it requires some Vietnamese to make sure everybody in your class understands the activity, use it. Okay. And again, that's where maybe the classroom contract can really help you, the classroom rules. Things will be explained in Tiếng Việt, but you're going to be using mostly your English. Okay. Yeah, it happens a lot in many situations. Pictures will help, but yeah, use of Vietnamese, it's okay sometimes, but make sure you manage your usage. So, and this is key, the last one there I wrote, be patient. Yeah, just like your management skills with your rules, use of English more will take time. It's not going to magically happen in the first lesson with your grade 1 and 2 students. Okay, this is something you have to build lesson to lesson. So please be patient, but don't always go back to your Vietnamese because you know you can just explain everything. Okay, trust your English, trust your teaching process. Fast finishers. I don't know if anyone mentioned this in the chat, maybe. But yeah, there we go. Mr. Blue, I finished. Now, I'd love your input here, everybody. How about your students in the class who finish a lot faster than the other students? You've always got a few of them in the classroom. Bao, Giang, Winan, finished. And you've got 30 other students who are only on question 5 of the 10 questions. What do you do to manage those students who are good students, but they finish too quickly? You want them to go a bit slower. What can we do? I'd love to see your ideas before I give you my suggestions. What do you do for really good students who finish work quickly? Yeah, Lang Sun, check others, give more tasks, Thảo. Kim Hang, that's good. Say good, offer encouragement. But if they're sitting there for 10 more minutes with nothing to do, what are they going to do? Are they going to start speaking Vietnamese? Are they? Yeah, I like these. Help others. Thảo, yeah, wonderful. Help others. You've got it. You've got it. So yeah, that was my number 1. Help a classmate. I love it when I see collaboration with workbook where a student has finished and they will help another student. Keyword, help. Not do it for them, but guide, aid, suggest, but not do it for them. Yeah, so well done, guys. Maybe a classroom chore. This is really good, and it goes back to responsibility. Maybe your blackboard, whiteboard needs wiping down. Okay. Hey, well done, Giang. You finished. Clean the board. Thank you for helping me. So maybe some classroom chores, some classroom jobs. Read a book. Write a story. I love writing stories, especially when they're using their English, their creativity. So maybe you get them to write a story based on the context of the lesson you just taught. Hey, my lesson was about toys. Write a story about a toy. Tell me about your favorite toy. Tell me about a really expensive toy that you want mum and dad to buy you. Okay, so yeah, read a book, write a story. Complete any unfinished work. If they have anything they need to do it now. Or, again, maybe you want to just to start their homework or finish homework, something like that. Now, that one I do like, because again, in Vietnam, we know that students come to school, they study hard, and they have a lot of homework to do when they go home. If they can have that opportunity, even for 10 minutes, to just get ahead and maybe just finish some homework, it's a great opportunity for them to feel they have the time, they can feel relaxed, and maybe it offers them more free time when they go home. So yeah, finish, begin homework maybe. Help a classmate's a good one. I love that. Or maybe you give them a review through a crossword. You've got a crossword, fill it in. What did you learn today? So I want you to answer my quick fire questions. Okay, just answer them to yourselves, or maybe put a yes or a no in the chat box to me. Okay, but just answer these questions very quickly. Question 1. That's not question 1. Yes or no? Oh, wait, Rex. So here's question number 1. Do you think your instructions through from the point of view of a student when you plan your lesson? So when you plan your lesson, do you think, what do my students need? Maybe not what they want. What do they need? Yes, some good yeses there. Question 2. Do you give lengthy explanations? Yay or nay? Sometimes. Again, I like sometimes because sometimes they're needed. But again, make sure they're clear. But no. Sometimes. Question number 3. Do you support your instructions with pictures, demonstrations, gestures, where possible? Yes, thanks, guys. Wonderful to hear. Yes. And again, maybe there may be some inclusion of Thingvia in there as well, but making sure you're using context through pictures, body movement, so everything can be understood. Do you ask students to help one another when a task is difficult or new? So maybe it's a complex task or it's unfamiliar. Do you ask your students to help your students? That's interesting, yes, because my background is in language center teaching, okay? And of course, I don't speak Vietnamese. So actually, sometimes I would rely on my students to support the weaker students when it comes to explaining new concepts and new ideas. Okay, so yeah, it's really useful. And another one, do you check that your instructions have been understood before allowing your students to begin? And maybe ask some ICQs. We played that game earlier, which didn't really work. Was that bad classroom management from me? Maybe. Okay, but making sure your instructions are understood before the task begins. Do you check understanding by saying, do you understand? Yes, no, yes. Yes, maybe. Yeah, it's not really the best way and the most effective way to check comprehension, because students will just, to save face and embarrassment, when you say, do you understand? Yeah. Again, use ICQs. Make sure you give examples. Everything is understood because they have shown you that everything is understood. Do you understand question? It doesn't offer much feedback. You're not going to get much from it, apart from a yes or an unsure face. So let's do a review crossword to finish my session. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Please write your answer in the chat. Let's see how much you have focused during my session. Okay, so here's question 1, and it's 3 across. So if you look at 3 across, it's got 3 letters. What's the name of my missing dog? Hung In, paying attention. Cao Bang, paying attention. Lang Sun, thank you. Nguyen, yeah, missing dog is Rex. Thank you very much. Question number 2, 4 across. When you transition, you should always try and maintain the students', yeah, well done everyone, attention. Well done. Number 3, what's my name? Yeah, Blue. Melia is my family name, my surname. Yeah, my name is Blue, just like the color. Well done. Named after a cowboy, if you remember. Next question. Activities where students will be sat down and relaxed. 7 across. See lots of singular, settler. What about the plural? Wait, I'm waiting to see that S somewhere. Settlement. Yeah, well done. I can see the answer there. Settlers. Yeah. Relaxing activities. Again, you've got a transition, but yeah, bring in the mood back down, relax, focused. You should keep these clear so everybody understands. 1 down. Trung, well done. Cao bang, hung, in, nuing. Instructions. Plural, many. Instructions. Well done. And we've got 2 more, I think. Activities where students will be active, energized. Yeah, well done, everyone. Stirrers. There we go. And the last question, 5 down. What do we think? Students must follow the that they agreed on with the teacher. What must the students follow? We've got rules. Well done. Thank you for going through my review crossword. You clearly listened. Thank you so much. So let's look at today's takeaways from today's session. Number 1, strong classroom management can lead to a successful lesson. Okay. Think of classroom management like your glue. What does glue do? It sticks. You could have the best lesson plan. This is wonderful. Best lesson I have ever come up with. But if there's no glue to stick it together, it will fall apart. And that's classroom management. Rules, repetition. Yeah, you need to make sure that you make rules, but you repeat the rules and it's lesson to lesson. You can't just go changing things. Otherwise, you're going to lose the students because things change. They need that consistency. Okay, it will really help them. Number 3, and this is key. This is very important. It takes time. Good classroom management takes time. It's a foundation to which you build the success of your lesson. Okay, but it does take time. So don't worry if you've got students speaking Ding Viet in lesson 1. If lesson 2, there's less, good job. Don't worry if it takes 2 minutes to transition. In lesson 2, it takes 90 seconds, 1 minute. Good job. Okay, it takes time, but stick to your management rules and routine. So I've got some good news. Thank you, everybody, for your help. But Rex has been located. How many times did you spot him during today's workshop session? 5, 6. Ooh. I wrote down in my book how many times I put him in. 4, 3. Oh, okay. The answer was 10. Yeah, 10. And again, honestly, the internet was cutting in and out. Maybe something got missed. But why did I include Rex into my PowerPoint today? Can anyone tell me? Why was Rex there? Is he an important part of my lesson today? Well, yeah, he was. Again, this is a 2-hour online workshop session. I need your attention. And How did I try to get your attention, Langsun? Yeah, by putting Rex into the PowerPoint and making sure I maintained your contact with my PowerPoint throughout today's session. So thank you very much for looking out for him. He's back home, he's safe and sound. So thanks for attending. Now we're gonna have a question and answer session, I believe.
Thank you a lot, Blue, for a lot of helpful information and very interesting sharing. And I have learned a lot, and I believe that our teachers here has get something from your presentation and can bring home and apply to their classrooms. So before we go to the Q&A sessions, I would like to review some of the main ideas that Blue has share today. Vâng, thưa các thầy cô ạ, trước khi chúng ta vào với phần Q&A thì em xin phép sẽ được tóm tắt lại một chút xíu về những cái nội dung mà thầy Blue đã chia sẻ buổi sáng ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, rất là nhiều thông tin thú vị phải không ạ? Nếu mà các thầy cô đã thấy là cái phần chia sẻ của thầy rất thú vị và có nhiều thông tin hữu ích thì vui lòng hãy gửi những cái trái tim vào trong chat box để gửi tới thầy Blue được không ạ? Dạ vâng. Vâng, với nội dung chia sẻ sáng nay thì thầy Blue đã gửi đến các thầy cô những cái thông tin về những cái phương pháp quản lý lớp học. Ở trong đó thì một trong những cái bước mà chúng ta có thể quản lý lớp học tốt đó là làm sao ạ? Chúng ta có thể tạo ra một cái thỏa thuận giữa giáo viên và học sinh, đúng không ạ? Để các em có thể cùng tham gia vào cái quá trình tạo ra những cái rules của lớp học, để khi mà chúng ta áp dụng những cái rules đó trong lớp học thì đó là cái sự thỏa thuận giữa cả học sinh và giáo viên rồi, các em sẽ rất là sẵn lòng để có thể tuân theo, đúng không ạ? Thứ hai là chúng ta có thể kết hợp giữa những cái hoạt động tĩnh và những hoạt động với nhau, và sẽ có những cái sự chuyển tiếp giữa những hoạt động này để duy trì được sự chú ý của học sinh. Vâng, và thầy Blue cũng đã chia sẻ một vài những cái bí kíp, những cái kỹ thuật làm sao để chúng ta có thể chuyển tiếp giữa những hoạt động này một cách mượt mà, và làm sao để có thể duy trì được sự chú ý của học sinh trong lớp học. Và thầy cũng có đưa ra những cái ý tưởng về những cái trò chơi mà chúng ta có thể sử dụng để có thể làm một cái kỹ thuật để quản lý lớp học tốt hơn. Nhưng mà thầy cũng có lưu ý rằng những cái trò chơi mà thầy cô sử dụng trong lớp học nó phải là những cái gì mà nó có mục đích, phải không ạ? Phải là được sử dụng một cái hệ thống. Chúng ta có thể sử dụng để giúp quản lý lớp học tốt hơn, hoặc là để có thể làm hấp dẫn hơn những cái hoạt động, những cái kỹ thuật giảng dạy, ví dụ như drilling khi mà chúng ta giới thiệu về vocab hay grammar, đúng không ạ? Thầy Blue cũng đã nêu ra một số vấn đề mà các thầy cô có thể gặp phải trong lớp học và đưa ra những cái gợi ý về cái cách xử lý. Ví dụ như là khi mà học sinh của chúng ta nói tiếng Việt quá nhiều thì phải làm thế nào, đúng không ạ? Rồi khi mà có những em mà trình độ khá hơn, hoàn thành bài sớm hơn thì chúng ta sẽ giải quyết như thế nào? Và cuối buổi thì thầy cũng có một cái phần ô chữ để giúp các thầy cô có thể review lại toàn bộ những cái thông tin, những cái keyword chính trong bài hội thảo ngày hôm nay. Và đó cũng là cái kỹ thuật mà các thầy cô vẫn thường xuyên sử dụng trên lớp, đúng không ạ? Giúp các em có thể nêu lại những thông tin quan trọng nhất trong mỗi buổi học. Vâng, và kết luận cuối cùng thì thầy cũng có đưa ra những cái bí kíp, những cái kỹ thuật, những cái yếu tố mà các thầy cô có thể ghi nhớ. Vâng, có thể là chúng ta đều thấy rằng là cái việc mà quản lý lớp học một cách hiệu quả là cái chìa khóa để chúng ta có thể có được những cái tiết học thành công. Và bí kíp để chúng ta có thể quản lý lớp học hiệu quả là gì ạ? Chúng ta sẽ có những cái quy tắc trong lớp, và làm sao chúng ta sẽ phải lặp đi lặp lại những quy tắc đó mỗi buổi học để các em có thành những cái thói quen và có thể hình thành một cái việc như là cái routine hàng ngày của các em. Và cuối cùng là cái việc quản lý lớp học thì rõ ràng là sẽ mất rất nhiều thời gian để chúng ta có thể làm tốt được, cũng như là các em có thể làm quen được, nhưng điều đó là rất xứng đáng, phải không ạ? Qua nhiều buổi học, qua thời gian thì các em hoàn toàn sẽ có thể hợp tác với các thầy cô và tương tác tốt hơn trong lớp, đúng không ạ? Dạ vâng ạ, bây giờ thì chúng ta sẽ đến với phần Q&A ạ. Các thầy cô có bất cứ câu hỏi nào dành cho diễn giả thì vui lòng mà mình sẽ gõ vào chat box, hoặc là gõ vào phần comment dưới phần YouTube và fanpage của Tiếng Anh Global Success ạ. Và các thầy cô lưu ý là sau phần Q&A thì chúng ta sẽ có phần khảo sát sau tập huấn để có thể nhận được giấy chứng nhận của hội thảo, và thứ hai là có cơ hội nhận được 15 phần quà rất hấp dẫn của ban tổ chức ạ. Các thầy cô hãy lưu ý mình sẽ nán lại đến cuối buổi được không ạ? Vâng ạ. Và có câu hỏi nào dành cho diễn giả không ạ? Please put your Q&A session. We got a question from trường tiểu học. Sorry. Mỹ Long, Bắc, Cầu Ngang. Where may I read more information about games in your classroom management presentation?
Well, the games, yeah, I will share the PowerPoint games. I will share with you. Well, I was planning to share with you the PowerPoint games now, but we had to change laptops because of the internet. So they are on a different laptop. So what I will do is I will share them with the team here and make sure that they get shared amongst everybody who, again, just to maybe a Google share and make sure that they are accessible to everyone. But again, it doesn't have to be a PowerPoint game. Think of any reward system incentive game that you want to incorporate as a management structure game. So another one that I used to do in my classroom was take an envelope, okay? And in that envelope, you're going to put a number of different pictures. The treasure, maybe, in the envelope. A bomb in the envelope. The princess in the envelope. A hammer in the envelope, okay? And you're going to have multiple of each. So lots of treasure, lots of bombs. And again, the same system. Students are ready. They're ready to learn. Draw a picture, a piece of paper from the envelope, unfold. It's a treasure chest, 1 point. Bomb, lose treasure. Princess, give treasure. Hammer, another team's treasure. Goodbye. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a PowerPoint, but think of a game that you might already know, but lends itself to transitioning and reward system. That's how you incorporate games when it comes to classroom management, not just as a game, as an activity in your class, but more so as a tool, as a resource for you to manage the class more successfully. Okay, do we have any more questions?
We got some questions on the YouTube. So what should teacher do if students do not want to join the class?
They don't want to join the class. I mean, that's a question with an open answer. What kind of, when we say join the class, they're in the classroom, but they don't want to join in the activities? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you might get students like that, but that's where I think teamwork and collaboration is really important. I would make sure that in your classroom, you know how to mix your students that work well together, or maybe students that allow other students the opportunity to be more confident and speak. Yeah. In the perfect classroom, you always might get those students who don't want to take part for a number of reasons. It could be bad behavior. It could be misunderstanding, confidence, laziness, tiredness, a number of different factors. That's not going to change. That's reality. But what you can do as the teacher is identify it. That's number one, identify the issue, and then try your best to find an answer, whether it be mixing that student in a different group, giving them some extra encouragement at the end of the lesson or during the lesson, but doing actively enough that you said, I did my part as the teacher. There's nothing more I can do. The reality is you're going to get some students who you can try, and they don't want to take part. All you can do is identify it as an issue and try your best to address it. And that would be my answer.
Em có nhận được câu hỏi của một số thầy cô về slide của thầy Blue ngày hôm nay, thì ban tổ chức sẽ gửi lại các quý thầy cô thông qua các nhóm Zoom ạ. Các thầy cô sẽ nhận được sau buổi học hỏi ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, và các thầy cô ở trong kho các tài nguyên học phần hỗ trợ dạy và học của Bộ Tiếng Anh 4
Global Success thì xin lỗi các thầy cô có nghe thầy em nói không ạ? Vâng, các thầy cô em xin nói lại một lần nữa là phần slide của thầy Blue hôm nay thì sẽ được gửi tới các thầy cô thông qua nhóm Zoom của các địa phương sau buổi hội thảo hôm nay ạ. Và trong phần kho tài nguyên hỗ trợ giảng dạy của Bộ Tiếng Anh Global Success thì cũng có những cái PowerPoint ạ, với những ý tưởng về trò chơi mà các thầy cô có thể sử dụng và áp dụng trên lớp để thêm cái hoạt động thú vị cho học sinh ạ. Và em xin tiếp tục với những câu hỏi khác ạ. Yes, another question. Can you share the apps that you use to create these kinds of games, for example, the crossword?
Yeah.
As I mentioned, they will be shared with you. They're just PowerPoint templates. They're just PowerPoint slides. There's no special app. It's just Microsoft PowerPoint. And the beauty of PowerPoint is you can edit and change what you want as well. So I will make sure that those templates are shared with you. Okay, don't worry about that. I did see another question which I liked. Let me see if I can find it in the chat. Here we go. How to control students' thinking when we give them a clue to guess a word. You can't. You can't control a student's thinking. All you can do is, as I've mentioned, guide. That's your job, to guide them to what you want them to do, to how you want them to react, but you can't control their thinking. So those two games we played earlier, one which worked, one which could have been better. But basically, both of those games are games to encourage students to not even really expand their vocab, because it's vocabulary they already have, but basically unlock vocabulary. My example was banana. When you show people a picture of banana, you're going to get the same clues from the students. Yellow, yellow, fruit, fruit, monkey, monkey. But if you've got a student having to guess banana from those clues, they might be thinking, give me more. Yellow, give me more. So again, your student is now thinking, how can I be different to my friend? My friend has written yellow. Next to him, they have written monkey. What can I write? Health, good, long, tree. But that's what you can do. You can guide your students to expand to new vocabulary, but you can't necessarily control it. You're still going to get yellow, yellow, monkey, monkey, but you're trying to give them the platform to open up and give you more. And that's the key point. Okay.
We got another question here. In case of huge class over 50 students, how to use the classroom rules effectively and which classroom management method is the best?
Magic.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I could answer that question with a perfect answer, but I can't. Okay, I'm going to use that word again. I just said reality. If you've got a class of 50 students, number one, good luck. Number two, classroom management repetition is where you're going to get the most effective results. And what I mean by that is the rules. If you've got 50 students, it could be chaos, craziness. How are you going to maintain that relaxed atmosphere and transition successfully? Create those rules early on. Stick to the rules. Hey, honestly, you might need to be Mr. and Mrs. Strict Teacher for those first few lessons. Be strict, be clear. Make sure the students know that they need to respect you, the teacher. And once you've got that established, hopefully everything will build on top. But if you haven't built those foundations early and those foundations are weak, again, your lesson will not work and your students will simply not allow you to teach what you want to teach. So my answer to your question to conclude is establish rules early, establish some kind of alpha. You are the teacher. Okay, I'm firm, I'm friendly, but I'm the one in control. And then if you work with me, we can have fun. We can engage. We can have a really fun classroom atmosphere. But it only works if the students are with you all the way. And so making it clear, classroom rules, what we introduced at the beginning of this workshop, so important. Okay. Good luck with those 50 students.
Okay, I got some quite similar questions from some teachers that what should teachers do when the students are not willing to join the games because they think that the games and music are so boring and waste of time?
Again, Giảng, I don't want to repeat my answer that I've just given, but you're going to get students like that. If they think the lesson is boring, we all know that you as a teacher have a curriculum to stick to. You have examinations to move forwards to. You have things you need to prepare them for. So if they think the content of a lesson is boring, well, I would like to think that games, songs, and activities are a nice getaway from the boring book stuff. So that would be really my underlining comment, really, to my students. If you think the games and songs are boring, what do you think of the work we are doing? So there has to be a mixture. You know, there are things that will be boring in the classroom. That's the reality of studying. Not everything is fun. And we are not there as entertainers. We are there as educators, teachers. So honestly, I don't have a magic answer for your question. Some students will find the best games boring. The most entertaining, engaging songs, boring. It's a key word in a young learner's vocabulary, boring. But all we can do is try our best to engage. I saw a question earlier that wasn't really related to classroom management, but intonation. Now, intonation is a really key skill when sort of refining, finessing your English pronunciation. Because pronunciation is one thing. Delivery, emotion is completely different. So, and that's one thing many Vietnamese students find difficult. They learn to pronounce these words, but because they're trying so hard to remember these words, they sound like robots when delivering these words. There's no intonation, no feeling. So if you may allow me, I'll share my whiteboard screen very quickly. And I will, if I can I share my whiteboard? Do I have a whiteboard function? I cannot see it. No, I can't. But what I can share, maybe if I can get the notepad up, I will share a notepad. But yeah, to me, as an English teacher, as a English from England English teacher, intonation is so important, especially when it comes to people who have got the language. Maybe they've got the pronunciation, but they need to develop the feeling. So let me share the notepad with you now, and I'll show you what I do very, very quickly, okay? So let me just share my screen. So here we go. How can I make the font bigger? Let's edit, view. I don't know. I hope you can see that. Can everyone see that? It's very small. Yeah. Anyway, so everybody, maybe you're doing intonation and you've got a reading activity in your lesson. So earlier in my workshop session, we had a reading piece about the ancient Egyptians. Okay, it could be any reading piece. Now, I want to focus on this word here, intonation. Okay, and again, intonation is that feeling in your voice. Okay, so my students, to practice, to introduce this idea, I will get my students to ask me a question. And the question is, Mr. Blue, how are you? And I apologize because I think this keyboard is set to Ding Viet keyboard, so there might be some typos. How are you? Mr. Blue, how are you? So I get my students to ask me, Mr. Blue, how are you? And my response is, I'm fine. I ask them again, Mr. Blue, how are you? My response, I'm fine. Now, my words are, I'm fine. But my intonation, my feeling is different. Okay, and my students can pick up on that and go, well, he's not fine because he doesn't sound fine. So that's how I introduce intonation. And then what I will have them do is read the piece of text, ancient Egyptians, maybe, and I'm going to put a feeling onto the board with a picture. So I have a PowerPoint with the feeling and a picture, like this. So I'll write happiness. And they need to read the text to their partner with that happy voice. In ancient Egypt, Egyptians used to paint the walls and hunt for crocodiles and fish. And then I will change. And they need to change their delivery dependent on the feeling they can see in front of them. My favorite is this one. anger. So they're reading it with that anger in their voice. Okay. But that would be my approach to making sure your students understand what intonation is and how important intonation is in a lesson. And I will finish by saying, do you understand? And they say, yeah. Teacher thinks, I'm here. They didn't understand. Do you understand? Yes. Oh, intonation, they did understand. Yes. So that's my long answer to your question there. But have fun with intonation. It's really important and you can have fun with it.
Yeah, we still got a lot of questions from the teachers, but because of the limited time, we just answered 2 more questions.
Sure.
So we have here one question quite opposite to the previous one, that most of students will be energetic and excited to join the game, so sometimes make the class so noisy and the teacher finds so hard to control the whole class. So what should teachers do in these cases?
Wow, I'm hoping what we just looked at in the workshop will answer that question. You're going to get stirring activities. Games and activities are great, of course. But what they do produce is energy. And some of that energy is towards the game. Some of that energy might be towards classmates in conversation or anger because they lost the game. Okay, you're going to produce that energy, whether it be positive or negative. But as we looked at in the workshop session, how do you transition? That's the key, whether it be through an incentive game or some kind of clap mechanism, sound of an instrument, sound of a song. Maybe it's a simple finger over mouth gesture that tells the quickest students to be ready, get prepared, they will be rewarded. But basically the answer lies in how you transition from your energetic, stirring activity towards a more settling, workbook-driven, settling activity. So transitions, really important.
Yes, one more question. If some students don't follow the rules in classroom, what should we do next? Punish or do not care?
I mean, you should care, of course. You should care. The rules are there for a reason. In terms of punishment, include the punishments into your classroom rules, your classroom contract. Make the students create the punishments. But be careful, because you don't want to make the punishments a fun thing that almost reward and entertain for bad behavior or not following instructions. So a punishment could be maybe, hey, if you're going to repeat what you are doing again and again, number 1, you're going to write lines in a book. Number 2, you do it again, maybe we speak to your parents. Maybe we write a note to your parents. But again, make sure that all of these punishments are clear for the students to see from day 1. So when they do break the rules again, they know the consequence and result of what they are doing. And that's key. That's very important as well. If you're going to punish in any kind of way, make sure the students fully understand what it is before it happens, because that will also be a strong deterrent to stop them from doing it in the first place.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Mr. Flu, with the presentation and all the great answers for the question of all the teachers. Vâng, các thầy cô, em vẫn nhận được rất nhiều các câu hỏi từ các thầy cô, nhưng mà em cũng rất là xin lỗi vì thời gian có hạn nên là diễn giả cũng không thể trả lời được hết các câu hỏi của các thầy cô. Nhưng mà em có nhận được một số các câu hỏi mà có rất nhiều thầy cô đang hỏi về việc là chia sẻ những cái tài nguyên dạy và học của bộ sách tiếng Anh Global Success. Thì các thầy cô vui lòng hãy truy cập vào trang web GS, viết tắt của Global Success ạ, gs.hoc-liệu.vn. Thì toàn bộ những tài nguyên hỗ trợ dạy và học nhà xuất bản đã chuẩn bị, đã xây dựng thì đều được public ở trên kênh website này, và các thầy cô có thể truy cập vào đây và có thể tải những cái tài liệu này hoàn toàn miễn phí. Các thầy cô, có một số thầy cô thì có đề nghị là nhà xuất bản tổ chức những hội thảo thêm về việc là làm thế nào để dạy các bạn bài song, bài chan và làm sao để dạy writing. Đối với nội dung về song chan thì năm ngoái các bạn đã có một cái hội thảo về kỹ thuật dạy song chan rồi ạ. Các thầy cô có thể vui lòng vào kênh YouTube Tiếng Anh Global Success để xem lại phần livestream của hội thảo này. Và ngay và với hội thảo hôm nay cũng vậy ạ, các thầy cô hoàn toàn có thể xem lại trên kênh YouTube và fanpage của Tiếng Anh Global Success. Vâng ạ, cảm ơn các thầy cô rất nhiều ạ. Và bây giờ thì chúng ta sẽ đến với phần tiếp theo, phần cuối cùng của buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay, đó là phần link khảo sát ạ. Các thầy cô ơi, hiện tại thì các bạn kỹ thuật viên đã gửi link khảo sát ở trên chat box của Zoom cũng như là trên livestream của YouTube và fanpage Tiếng Anh Global Success. Xin các bạn vui lòng chia sẻ thêm cả cái QR ở trên màn hình nữa ạ. Thì các thầy cô hãy vui lòng là điền thông tin và hoàn thành phiếu khảo sát để có thể nhận được giấy chứng nhận tham gia hội thảo ngày hôm nay và có cơ hội nhận được 15 phần quà rất là hấp dẫn từ ban tổ chức ạ. Vâng, 15 phần quà bao gồm là một bộ sách tiếng Anh, bộ truyện tiếng Anh Storyland dành cho học sinh từ lớp 1 đến lớp 5, bộ bài tập phát triển năng lực tiếng Anh 3 và bộ quân rối tiếng Anh 123. Các thầy cô giáo hãy điền thông tin thật nhanh, hoàn thành khảo sát và gửi về cho ban tổ chức để có cơ hội nhận được 15 phần quà này ạ. Vâng ạ. Dạ vâng, và thầy Blue thì cũng có một khảo sát về nội dung của hội thảo ngày hôm nay và sẽ gửi các thầy cô trong khoảng 5-10 phút nữa. Các thầy cô có thể giúp thầy Blue đánh giá về buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay cũng như là có thể cải thiện thêm cho những buổi hội thảo tới bằng cách là hoàn thành cái phần khảo sát của thầy Blue sẽ được gửi trong 5 phút tới ạ. Em cảm ơn các thầy cô rất nhiều. Dạ các thầy cô ở trên màn hình hiện tại đang là mã QR để có thể truy cập vào đường link khảo sát. Các bạn kỹ thuật viên cũng đang liên tục gửi đường link của phiếu khảo sát thông qua chat box và cũng đã ghim link này ở trên phần comment của YouTube và fanpage. Các thầy cô có thể truy cập vào để hoàn thành khảo sát và nhận giấy chứng nhận cũng như có cơ hội nhận được các phần quà hấp dẫn của ban tổ chức ạ. Vâng, các thầy cô ơi, mình cũng đừng quên lịch của hội thảo chiều nay ạ. Chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu vào lúc 13 giờ 50 phút ạ, là phần chào mừng, và 14 giờ thì diễn giả sẽ bắt đầu chia sẻ phần trình bày của mình với hai nội dung rất là quan trọng. Thứ nhất là kiểm tra đánh giá môn tiếng Anh dành cho cấp tiểu học theo chương trình giáo dục phổ thông 2018 và thứ hai là hướng dẫn soạn bài dạy. Cái bài dạy theo công văn 2345 ạ. Các thầy cô hãy lưu ý là mình sẽ vào sớm và để buổi hội thảo thì bắt đầu vào lúc 13 giờ 50 phút chiều nay ạ. Dạ, ban tổ chức đã bắt đầu nhận được rất là nhiều những cái phiếu khảo sát mà các thầy cô đã gửi về rồi ạ. Và các thầy cô ơi, chiều nay thì cuối buổi hội thảo ở lúc 16 giờ thì ban tổ chức sẽ công bố danh sách các thầy cô nhận được quà tặng của ban tổ chức cho phần phiếu khảo sát sáng ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, cảm ơn các thầy cô. Dạ, các thầy cô ơi, nếu như mà mình đã hoàn thành xong phần phiếu khảo sát của ban tổ chức để nhận được giấy chứng nhận của hội thảo rồi thì mình cũng vui lòng giúp cho thầy Blue đánh giá phản hồi về nội dung chia sẻ của thầy sáng ngày hôm nay và để có thể giúp thầy cải thiện thêm trong những buổi hội thảo tiếp theo bằng cách là đánh giá qua những câu hỏi trong phiếu khảo sát của thầy sẽ được gửi vào chat box ngay bây giờ ạ. Cảm ơn các thầy các cô rất là nhiều ạ. Các thầy cô lưu ý là khảo sát của thầy Blue là với mục đích là giúp thầy đánh giá về nội dung chia sẻ của thầy ngày hôm nay. Còn đường link khảo sát mà ban tổ chức đã gửi cách đây 10 phút đến các thầy cô là đường link khảo sát để các thầy cô có thể nhận được giấy chứng nhận của hội thảo ngày hôm nay và cũng như là có cơ hội nhận được quà của ban tổ chức ạ. Cảm ơn các thầy cô. Dạ vâng, cảm ơn các thầy cô rất nhiều vì đã dành thời gian tham dự buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay ạ. Buổi hội thảo phiên buổi sáng xin phép được kết thúc ở đây ạ. Các thầy cô đã hoàn thành khảo sát rồi thì chúng ta có thể rời Zoom và quay trở lại vào lúc 13 giờ 50 chiều nay cho phiên hội thảo buổi chiều. Và buổi hội thảo chiều sẽ kéo dài từ 13 giờ 50 cho đến 16 giờ ạ. Xin hẹn gặp lại các thầy cô vào chiều ngày hôm nay. Trân trọng cảm ơn các thầy cô một lần nữa ạ.